I am the queen of enjoying every moment, never wanting something good to come to an end, and a late checkout is the embodiment of that. I'm your host, Laura Janela. All right, we're jumping into this new year right and ready. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to Late Checkout. It's only been a few days of 2026, but let me tell you, it has been amazing with implementing schedule, routine. I am harnessing this Capricorn Saturn energy. Dude, we haven't had schedule like this and regimen like this since July. Since Switzerland, since we were in Zurich. And I am like baffled that it's been 6 months. I like don't know how I've been merely surviving the last 6 months, which, hey, it happens and that's okay too. Sometimes we just gotta, the only way out is through, and now we're here, and I'm just really effing happy about it. So welcome back, welcoming myself back to 2026 and normalities and regularities, and I just hope it continues and helps me thrive. And I hope you guys are feeling that same like Saturn, Capricorn energy of structure and goal orientation and all of that within this first week, because it's always the best. It's the best kind of coming up out of like the fog of the holiday and then being like, all right, real life again, let's do this. Today, I'm going to talk about patterns and synchronicities. I'm finding myself, right? I'm going to talk from first person here, just why it's been so important to me over the last few years. And I even think like if you're somebody who does like therapy, you start to be aware of what tests and triggers are around in your life, what those stem from, why these things bother you, why certain relationship dynamics bother you or light you up. Personal patterning doesn't have to just be like being aware of your negative situations. It can also be very much bringing awareness to all the positive situations as well, but really knowing and seeing the depth of why maybe like there are recurring themes in the confrontations you come across or the relationships you come across, and having that light and attention on my personal patterning just brings a lot of driver's seat consciousness to my life. And I really, really love that. Like on a daily, it is so helpful to sit there. And even when something can quickly dysregulate me, to just know immediately, right down to like the core wound of like why that's annoying me. You know what I mean? And kind of like letting myself like say like, okay, it's okay. That's pissing me off because of X. I'm going to let it go, versus like getting so caught up in the not irrational emotions, but just those like impulsive emotions about things. Obviously, I still get very impulsive, but just that awareness around self, seeing my relationships, tests and triggers, especially when I'm calling it a manifestation or if I'm hitting a rock bottom, and working on what it is to help me break out of having that come back into my life again. Or maybe it's nourishing that so it keeps staying in my life if it's something positive, and giving myself the lessons and abilities to give those parts of me just like some extra love and care, some integration. I feel like the universe makes it very obvious. I'm of the mind where all of the energy I'm putting off like essentially manifests all around me, right? So anything in my environment, my relationships, the people around me, the work I do, all of that is a reflection, right? It's like a mirror right back at me, telling me what it is I'm thinking and feeling about myself on a subconscious and conscious level. And having that be a framework to think about my life around, it gives me a little bit of direction on how I can steer the wheel. Focusing on those aspects and being aware of those aspects helps me be so present and so adaptable, because I know myself better and I know myself more than I did 10 years ago. Instead of having a trigger or a test come up and just like pushing it down, or like letting shame take care of it to like ignore it and act like, oh no, that's not me, that's not what I do. Really just owning it and getting on with it and making sure that I'm able to integrate it helps so much. bringing focus to my personal patternings is a way to kind of see my life as like a storyline. You know what I mean? Like main character energy, really focusing on self to the point where I really know how I'm showing up to myself in relationships, in community, all of it. I was telling Brian last night, for some reason, the energy right now in the last few days has been so potent that I'm able to like actually take a step back and from like a higher perspective, see like the big web of my life, like the big web of my inner workings, and seeing how all of my situations and the cards I've been dealt and how I handled things and relationships I was in, to jobs that I took, to the parents I was born to just how it all kind of like branches out. And it's so beautiful. I find that to be the most fascinating part about the human journey, and being aware of that personal patterning. It's like I'd be silly to miss it. I don't want to miss out on that. Something about turning 38 made me really locked in to how amazing of a person that I am. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. I don't mean that in an arrogant, egotistical way. I mean that in like, I can take a big step back and really look at myself, like my true self, and just have so much love for her. And it's the kind of love that it took me until 38 to truly feel, which then like pisses me off because I'm like, why didn't I feel this earlier? Like, you've been dumb awesome like the entire time. But you know, that's just how life is. Sometimes it just takes time. But I'm feeling it for 38, and I feel like having that, you know, locked in awareness around personal patterns has really, really helped me with it. This takes me into my next topic about patterns around my physical and mental state. I'm always trying to like pulse check these things, right? Like wellness to me, majority of it is physical and mental, and I prioritize it. I prioritize trying to pour into self, but I really want to kind of shift the focus a little bit and know that I can update my list of what makes sense for my physical and mental state, because as I get older, things change. I need different things. Each year that goes by, I might be inspired to do something new or different for my physical or mental state. So I want to just be aware of that and bring that in. And I think the best way I can approach it right now is asking myself, what makes me feel like my best self? I think this is a question that I asked myself a lot starting at the beginning of 2024. There was a time where pre-kids, I had all the time in the world to pour into self and to do things that made me feel like my best self in a very flexible way. I could work out whenever I wanted. I could jump on a plane whenever I wanted to go somewhere else and reset and reboot and recharge. I was able to have all the time in the world to not feel constrained that I could never feel like my best self. Where like going into parenthood, first of all, who am I? I came out of pregnancy like, wait, who is she? What is best? We don't even know. And after Leandro turned about almost a year old, I started seeing and asking myself, okay, what truly makes me feel like my best self, and how can I work that into my daily life? I don't care if it's 5 minutes or if it's 3 hours of time. I need something to keep pouring into me to keep going. And when it comes to me feeling like my best self, you know me, I love self-love, pouring into me, pouring into self. I am like an addict when it comes to doing things for myself, and not selfishly, not in a selfish way, like not in a negatively selfish way. It's in a self-love way where I know that if I get 2 minutes to do something for me, I am able to then have like my tank with a little bit of fuel in it. You know, like I can't always have my tank full and just amazing, especially not with 2 kids running around at this particular age. But if it's the damn good matcha that I'm buying from the cafe that I love, or going to get my nails done, or if it's a walk with my dog, or working out a little bit, 5 minutes of breath work. I don't care what it is. I need that something. I literally sound like an addict. I need that something to bring myself back to me. The most important person in my life is me. Like, I need to be able to pour into me in order to show up at my best self with everyone else. But I also want to just feel like from inside out, feel like my best self. So I know in 2026, or maybe I need to revisit this list every few months, it's really good for me to just bullet out what makes me feel like my best self. So in this current season, in this current state of my life right now, these are the things that make me feel like my best self. And I also want to identify the things that I can fit in daily to help me achieve feeling like my best self. My list right now, I have 5 things. My first is when my skin glows. There is something about when my skin is glowy and supple and looking tight and good, and not just from like a vanity perspective. There is a story being told in my face that doesn't mean, oh, just my skin regimen is great. It means like I'm nourishing myself from the inside out. It means I'm being extra hydrated. I'm being intentional about what I'm putting in my body. Because as I get older, I feel like you can just see on my face if I got good sleep, if I'm well nourished, if I've been keeping a good regimen, if, all those ifs. What really will help me get and achieve that part of my feeling like my best self, I think, is sticking to my skin regimen, making sure I get that good rest. I also want to fit in drinking bone broth 3 times a week, because there is something about bone broth that is just like a magic weapon. I remember making my own a lot in Zurich because my traditional Chinese medicine doctor like would always push me to make this soup, but it was so good. And I swear, when the weeks that I would drink some of it every single day, my skin looked so beyond good. I need to reincorporate that. I don't care if it's the bone broth that I buy from Whole Foods. Like, if I can't make the soup myself, that will happen with my routine this year, 100%. The second is when I feel energetic and happy, I feel like my best self. I feel like sleep is going to come up in a lot of these. Getting exceptional rest can help me feel energetic and happy, or at least close to it. Definitely taking 20 minutes to myself when I wake up in the morning. And I don't care what I do with those 20 minutes. It can be a red light mask. It can be a DI. It can be just to have some like meditative, quiet time. Or maybe listening to an audible. Like, I really love listening to like an audible, like A Course in Miracles or something like that. I feel like it gives my day a little bit more of intention. Minimal drinking, not over caffeinating, working out. These are all things that are going to add to my ability to feel energetic and happy, which makes me feel like my best self. Third on my list is when I feel balanced and I feel silly with my kids. I love showing up as my inner child self with my kids. It is so much fun. And I personally believe that consistent self work on me, like, this is for me, like unblocking limiting self beliefs, being in therapy, doing DIs, journaling, expressing my emotions, whether it's like verbally or somatically with like movement or writing, journaling, like all of that helps me feel balanced. And then I can show up with my kids as like a balanced adult that's just having fun, and I'm not like held back by my own emotions, by being overstimulated, because we're just so freaking busy. We're so busy, and it's so easy to feel like, oh, I can't get silly with my kids right now. I have all this other to do, like laundry, dishes, prepping their lunches. There's so much to excuse to not just be in the moment with them. And the more I work on myself and the more I am, honestly, like, this feeds into my number 4, being tapped in and connected to my journey. It allows me to be tapped in and connected with them too. So number 4 for me is I feel like my best self when I'm tapped in and connected to my journey. Consistent self-work is obviously a big part of that, but journaling. I need to incorporate a little bit of meditation this year, guided meditation. I am shit at meditating, but I want to do at least maybe like 3 days a week, like a 5-minute meditation, and allow my brain to just dump and feel like it's not being overstimulated by everything going on in my life. Doing my TBM, therapy, acupuncture, because like physically as well, being connected to my journey is it's physical and it's mental, right? And number 5, what makes me feel like my best self is being in a creative flow. Oh, I feel so good when I'm getting those pings and downloads and ideas. And I'm like, sometimes I will get them at 3 in the morning and I'll wake up and I'll take my little notes app out and I'm just like data dumping, data dumping, data dumping. And then I pass out. Like it's like somebody woke me up and was like, hey, here's an idea. Here's an idea. This is what you want to talk about. This is what you want to do on the pod, or this is what you should do with the website, and I just need to get it out. And with me feeling like my best self when I'm creative, I know this year I want to make sure that I carve out the time for morning meditations. See, a lot of these are thematic. See these personal patterns, some of the things that make me feel like my best self, they all feed into each other. What the daily ritual or weekly ritual that's needed can pour into a bunch of these, which is so fulfilling because I feel like I don't have to do 5 times the work. It all helps each piece. But writing down every idea, right? Like I just said, like even if it's in the middle of the night, wake up and get it down, allow myself to think big, embody my creativity. Like maybe I need to dance a little bit and tune into my body a little bit and get that flow going physically so it can like mentally come to me, spiritually come to me. Carving out time to just sit and let it all out on paper and get my ideas out. I love, for example, yesterday I started a newsletter, and if I just carve out time to sit on my couch with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just start typing, it's like the words just magically are coming out of me, and it's like intentional thought. It's not fluff. It's just literal, the light within me going through my fingers and letting it out. So having more of that this year will be helping me be the best version of myself. Making these bullets and knowing what can feed all of these bullets or these aspects really allows me to know that there's a way to tackle it. It brings intentionality to my daily life. I don't want to merely exist. I don't want to merely exist in schedules. I don't want to be in the cogwheel. I don't want to be on autopilot. Autopilot makes me so sad. It makes me feel unalive. And there's been so many times in my life where I felt it doesn't even have to be like a full week or a full day of autopilot, but just areas of my life where things were on autopilot. A lot more so when I was working in corporate in New York during like busy seasons in particular. And I don't bash that I felt like I was on autopilot at ever in life. I think that's so natural and normal to do when we have so much to be thinking about and doing and responsibilities. Baseline, we all have a lot to do. And then like from there, there's the stimulation of like technology, having close neighbors, having to do the chores, having just the entire world completely at our senses. We're seeing, hearing, feeling, touching everything way more than people did 100 years ago. And that is overwhelming, overstimulating, and can easily make people feel more comfortable when they're in autopilot to soothe their own nervous systems. And I've always been a creature of, I want to stop and smell the roses. I want to be aware of every moment that I'm in. And whenever I found myself in autopilot, I knew that I was not functioning from a place of authenticity. It's almost like I was tuning out how much I had to do. It's just like the only way out was through, and the way through, I had to be like numb and to just get through, go through the cycle. And it almost reminds me of that movie Click with Adam Sandler. I love that movie, and I think it has such an amazing baseline lesson to not want to be in this autopilot state, because you're going to be missing everything that's going on around you. And that's not the point of life. Like, life is short as hell. It is so short, and so much happens in it. It's short, but there's so much. People are always like, "Oh my God, this year went so fast." I'm like, "Yeah, but so much happened this year." It's wild how much gets jam-packed into our days, how much can change, how much can be brought to us, be taken away from us. And all of it applies to that storyline and patterning and personal patternings. And to be on autopilot for all of that, I could literally shed a tear. That's not the way to embody and live through and move through this human experience. And it feels like when I have these ways to bring myself into like driver's seat consciousness and awareness, it just helps so much to be present. Okay, so the last thing on patterns I'm going to bring up is something that is also a new resolution for me. I want to be aware of what my body needs. So when we moved here from Zurich, I noticed like a month in that I needed probiotics. And I've taken probiotics before, like after antibiotics, but like to have to take them like on a regular basis, between all of the ingredients in the food being different, the water I'm intaking being completely different, I just realized how much my body wasn't getting like the natural minerals and resources and ingredients that it was getting in Switzerland. So one of the things I noticed was like my microbiome going effing crazy. So I'm like, okay, I need a probiotic, which then triggered this feeling of, what else do I need? What else am I deficient in? What else do I need stabilizing nutrients in my body for? And I don't know that. So I want to go and get blood work done every 6 months, maybe once a quarter, to just check in. Like, what is it that I need? Am I deficient on vitamin D? Am I deficient on iron? Do I need something for my thyroid? Do I need to pay more attention? Is it, acting normal? Is it over? Is it under? I want to know what's going on inside so I can really help myself from like, a cellular level, to help me also feel like my best self. Without that information knowledge, I can only do so much to help myself. So I was thinking to myself the other day, because I've been noticing that ever since October, when we were deciding about moving into this home, I was seeing the number 1111 everywhere. Typically, that means that's the universe's way of sharing with you that you're on the right path. Like, it's like an angel number where the universe is like conversating with you. It's telling you like, yes, keep going. So I remember when we were really unsure about taking this house, I kept seeing that number pop up over and over again whenever I would be feeling like yes or no about it and unsure of what we wanted to decide on. And I would see that number and I'd be like, I feel like this number is telling me yes, like it's okay. Yes, move forward. Yes. And that brings me to the last part of this podcast, is synchronicities and paying attention to them, which also is like patterns, right? Just patterns going on around you outside of your control, but that keep showing up. Synchronicities are little ways of calling out coincidences, whether you keep hearing the same topic come up of a conversation, or when you really think about somebody random that you haven't spoken to in a while, and then they all of a sudden you look down at your phone and they've messaged you or they're calling you. Those type of synchronicities are the ones that I'm referring to. And I will say, I think my most popular synchronicity in my personal life is numbers. To this day, I'm still seeing 1111 everywhere. And I'm also, I think it was around like the end of October, beginning of November, just started seeing 822 and 852 everywhere, which is my dad's birthday. He was born August 22nd, 1952. He was huge about playing the lottery all the time, and it would always be everyone's birthdays. And even from when I was a little girl, I remember going to Hershey Park with him, and we stayed in the hotel room. Number was 822. Like, he just had a thing with numbers. He had an affinity for them. He loved, adding them together and then being like, oh, and like your birthday adds up to this number, which is actually my part of my birthday and number. And he was so into that. So anytime I see 822 come up, it's like I literally will say out loud, like, what's up, Pops? Like, I know he's there. I know he's just around and giving me that same wink. And there's something so heartwarming and comforting about it. It's like his physical way of being here, even though he's not. So I get really excited when I have synchronicities happening in my life, because I truly believe it means that there is a lot of winking from up above down onto me happening, saying like, you got this, girl, keep going. You're in the right place. Keep it chugging along. Go, go, go. The other day, also, we had Brian's cousins over, and they were talking about how they had seen a shooting star somewhere. And then I went to Pilates class the next morning, and somebody said that when they were in Arizona, they saw a shooting star. And I just thought it was so weird to hear shooting star a few times in a row. And I'm like, okay. Like, back pocket that and give myself a little smile about where I am and know that it's where I'm meant to be. Again, I think this episode needs to be called awareness, like patterns and awareness. It's just having the awareness around your patterns, your synchronicities, what's going on, and just seeing how life really works in your favor. I see it around me all the time. The more I see it, the more I see, the more tapped in I am and dropped in that I am, that the universe works in a very particular way around me, the more I keep seeing the messages, the more synchronicities that come in. And it's just been such a beautiful journey having those patterns and having those synchronicities, especially during one of the craziest times of my life. Last half of 2025 was challenging. It was adventurous, but in a nerve-wracking way. Like, we took a huge leap, a huge risk. We uprooted our whole family from a place that we really, really loved, because we have hopes and dreams for other things in our lives to catapult in different ways. Big risks we take in life, those big risky moments where you're kind of sitting on the line of like, what if we didn't, or what if we do? The patterns and synchronicities that come up during those times, I think, have been so comforting and have gotten me through mentally and emotionally through this entire process. And I'm just so grateful for them that I can keep that pulse check there. So sharing that with you guys, because I am sure many of you listening are probably been noticing your own patterns and maybe synchronicities as well. So here's an episode that hopefully resonates with you. And here's to 2026, moving on up, bringing in bigger things, but also being very fucking intentional and aware. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.